Coca-Cola spent $2 or $3 million on their spot for the Super Bowl and about $0 on creativity. That's right, they actually ripped off a 7-year-old Israeli commercial where the guy sleepwalks to his fridge, finds it empty, and then walks through the desert to find chocolate milk. Even the music was the same. On the news this morning, the guy who actually acted in the original commercial said that they didn't ask for rights. I don't know what's more disturbing, the fact that Coca-Cola, with all their money and creativity, had to rip off this commercial because apparently they didn't get any rights for it, or the fact that this guy is literally waking up and drinking Coke for breakfast. And just in case you're wondering, the reason in the original commercial the guy's walking through the desert is because the dairy factory that makes this chocolate milk is really in the middle of the desert. But on to bigger and better things. Ayalon, who had his turkey faux pas that I talked about in my last blog, he managed to get a Saudi representative to shake his hand. Unfortunately, in Israel, that's a big accomplishment, although in the long run, I don't know that it'll really do anything. And the Saudi representative was really put on the spot because Ayalon was trying to make the point that the Arab countries won't even meet in the same room with them. So how can you even have talks about peace if they won't even sit in the same room? And our friend Syria promised that if Lebanon was attacked, that they would attack whoever attacked Lebanon. That's so nice of them, because if they didn't have Lebanon, they wouldn't have puppets like Hezbollah to throw rockets at Israel for them. And what would they do with all those spare rockets? Israel has completed their mission in Haiti, and I'm so proud of them. They stood out in many media outlets as being the best, the most organized, and the most productive. They treated, I believe it was 1,500 people a day. They had x-ray machines. They had it going on. They rescued dozens of people from the rubble, and they even rescued at least one person after the mission was called a recovery mission. And maybe we'll have 2 friends in the world now. Hamas, in the meantime, is feeling so isolated. They've actually been throwing love letters into the sea in bottles, okay, in barrels, and styrofoam to help them float, with dynamite in it, to help it be meaningful, until it hits a jellyfish, or maybe an Israeli ship, or maybe some kid playing on the beach, which is actually where they found one of these barrels washed up on a public beach in Ashkelon. Supposedly there's still a few of these floating around in the ocean, and I think environmentalists should be out there in force. What if these things hit a whale? Forget the Israelis. Or maybe we can keep our fingers crossed that it'll hit some Iranian ship on its way to Gaza full of weapons. That would be nice. I want to be on the beach when that happens. And speaking of Iran, I love this picture of Ahmadinejad. They say he was in some scientific lab, so he had to wear protective goggles. Disposable protective goggles. But we all know he was watching some secret showing of Avatar. He just can't admit that he likes anything from America the Great Satan. Israelis think that he was in a trance club. In the meantime, America's Robert Gates still thinks that they can use some sort of sanctions on Iran. He was not specific about what sanctions, and I'm guessing it's because he doesn't really know what sanctions will work. But in the meantime, Ayatollah Khamenei was interviewed this week, and he said Israel's decline and failure is so close. God willing, their obliteration is certain. I guess he doesn't realize that God isn't willing.